There comes a moment in every believer's journey when prayer begins to feel heavy, distant, or somehow less alive than it used to be. Maybe the words are still on our lips, but the fire has grown dim. Maybe the burdens of life have pressed so tightly against our hearts that prayer feels more like a struggle than a refuge. Or maybe we've simply drifted, slowly, quietly, until one day we wake up and realize we've forgotten how to pray with trust, with hope, with love. If that's where you find yourself today, you are not alone. Every Christian, at some point, must learn how to pray again. And in moments like these, God sends us a gentle teacher, Mary, the Queen of the Rosary. The Rosary is not just beads or repetition or routine. It is a lifeline, a shelter, a path that leads us back to Jesus, one Hail Mary at a time. Mary does not stand far away, watching us struggle. She comes close. She kneels beside us. She takes our trembling hands in hers and whispers, "Let me teach you again. Let me bring you back to my Son." In this reflection, we will enter into a quiet, sacred space, a space where Mary guides us gently into the power of prayer again. We will rediscover what the Rosary truly is: a weapon against fear, a medicine for wounded hearts, a channel of grace for families, and a doorway into the mysteries of Christ. If your prayer life has grown weak, if you long to feel God again, if you're tired, overwhelmed, or simply searching for peace, this time with Mary is for you. Take a breath, slow your heart, and let the Queen of the Rosary lead you back into the embrace of heaven. There is something profoundly comforting about knowing that we have a Mother in heaven who not only loves us, but also teaches us. When Jesus gave Mary to the beloved disciple at the foot of the cross, he gave her to all of us, not simply as a symbol of compassion, but as a real spiritual mother who knows how to guide her children back to God. Among all the titles we give her, Queen of the Rosary stands out because it reveals not only her majesty, but also her mission: to lead every weary, wounded, wandering heart back into the life of prayer. We often think of the Rosary as something we do, a devotion we choose, a discipline we attempt. But in truth, the Rosary is something God has given, a gift he placed in Mary's hands so she could place it into ours. And when she does, she doesn't simply say, "Pray this." She says, "Come, walk with me. Let me show you my Son." Every one of us, even the most faithful Christians, eventually reaches a point where prayer becomes difficult. Some seasons feel spiritually dry. Some problems weigh so heavily that the soul sinks beneath them. Sometimes we simply get tired. In those moments, many people quietly stop praying, not because they've stopped believing, but because they've stopped feeling. Prayer begins to feel like trying to lift a heavy stone with trembling hands. We want to pray, but we don't know how to begin again. Mary knows this. She knows the human heart. She knows the storms we endure, interior storms and exterior storms, and she never waits for us to get better before she comes near. She draws close precisely when prayer becomes the hardest. If you've ever been so overwhelmed that even a single Our Father felt impossible, know this: Mary has sat beside countless souls in that same quiet place of exhaustion. And she never shames, never blames, never pressures. She simply holds. Her presence itself becomes a prayer when we cannot pray. This title is not just poetic, it is deeply theological. The Rosary is the gospel held in the hands of a mother. Each mystery is a window into the life of Christ, but Mary is the one who opens the window. She is the one who pondered all these mysteries in her heart. She lived them, not as an observer, but as the one closest to Jesus, the one whose heart beat with his. When we pray the Rosary, we are not just meditating on events. We are meditating on love. We are entering into the mysteries through the eyes and heart of a mother who knows her son better than anyone. Mary is Queen of the Rosary because she alone can teach the world the deepest meaning of the Rosary. That the heart of prayer is not repetition, it is relationship. It is letting Mary take us by the hand and lead us into the presence of Jesus. When we pray the Rosary, especially when we feel weak or dry, something sacred happens. The simple, gentle rhythm of the Hail Mary becomes like breathing again after holding our breath for too long. It anchors the mind. It calms the heart. It creates space for grace. Many people begin the Rosary feeling overwhelmed, distracted, or tired, but end it feeling lighter, steadier, more rooted in peace. Why? Because the Rosary is not a monologue, it is a conversation. It is not a performance, it is a homecoming. It is not about our perfection, it is about Mary's presence. God knows that the human heart grows weary. He knows that our minds wander. He knows that our problems can drown out our prayers. That is why He gave us a prayer that is simple enough to pray in crisis, steady enough to cling to in chaos, and powerful enough to bring heaven into the darkest places of our lives. The Rosary is a shelter for the soul. When we call on Mary in prayer, we are not calling on someone who is distant from human pain. She knew fear, exile, uncertainty, and the piercing sorrow of watching her son suffer. She is not a queen who sits on a high throne untouched by human grief. She is a queen who walks the road of suffering with her children. That is why the Rosary is not simply a devotion of joy, it is a devotion of companionship. As we pray, we walk with Mary through her joys, her sorrows, her glories. She walks with us through ours. When we feel overwhelmed by the world, Mary whispers peace. When we feel afraid of the future, Mary steadies our hearts. When we feel like prayer has slipped through our fingers, Mary places the Rosary back into our hands. There is no problem too tangled for her to understand. There is no wound too deep for her to touch. There is no fear so heavy that she cannot help us carry it. We live in a world full of noise, phones, news, stress, endless distractions. The soul becomes crowded and prayer becomes difficult. But the Rosary forces the heart to slow down. It creates a holy rhythm that quiets the inner storm. Many people rediscover the voice of God through the Rosary, precisely because the Rosary teaches us how to listen again. God rarely speaks in thunder. He speaks in the gentle whisper the heart can only hear when it is still. Mary, Queen of the Rosary, does not just teach us to pray, she teaches us to listen. Perhaps the most consoling truth is this: Mary never stops trying to bring us back to prayer. Even when we forget her, she remembers us. Even when we stop praying, she continues praying for us.
Even when our hearts grow cold, hers burns with love. She is a mother who fights for her children, who intercedes for them, who protects them from the attacks of the enemy, and who gently, patiently guides them back home. If you feel far from God, far from prayer, far from peace, Mary has already begun the journey to bring you back. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to feel holy. You do not need to have the right words. You only need to let her lead you. If part 1 showed us Mary as the gentle teacher of prayer, part 2 invites us to step deeper into the actual power of the Rosary, the way it reshapes the heart, restores peace, and reorders the soul.